Welcome back to another video. My name is Derek, and today we're going to be taking a look at an iPhone 13 mini that has a boot loop issue. Boot loop issues can be caused by all sorts of things: faulty proximity sensors, water damage, power button issues, other issues with the motherboard. A lot of components that connect can cause boot loop issues, charge port, etc. Depending on what we find, hopefully we'll be able to come up with a solution. So let's get started. Alright, so here we've got an iPhone 13 mini. This is how I got it. So let's take a look and see if we can figure out what's going on. I've been told that there's a boot loop. Start by taking off their and reinserted brackets. Now, boot loop could be caused by a bunch of different things: water damage, bad battery, short on the motherboard, all sorts of things can cause that. I want to see if this battery even powers anything, so we'll connect it up. Oh, and I didn't even push the power button, and it automatically went into that. So let's watch this again. Push down the battery. I'm not even holding anything down, and it automatically turns on. So it could be that there's a short on the power button. So what I'm going to do real quick is we're just going to basically disconnect everything. Because if a power button is held down, it can throw the phone into kind of a looping state. So if it thinks the power button is being held, it would do that. I'm just going to disconnect everything that isn't crucial for it to boot. Alright, now that everything's basically disconnected, we'll just reconnect the battery and see if it automatically wants to come on. It doesn't. That's a good sign. I'm just going to reconnect the button for a second and disconnect it while the Apple logo is still there. That is basically acting like, while it was connected, like the power button was being pushed. Disconnected it is as if I released the power button, and let's see if this boots up all the way. Given that it's not looping, I think it will. And there we go. Let's test the touch. Everything looks like it's going to work. So now we need to investigate what happened with the power button. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and disconnect the battery. So it could be still an issue with the motherboard. Probably not, but it could be. Okay, we'll set that aside. And we're going to do kind of a semi teardown of this phone real quick. I have no idea how strong the battery adhesive is on this replacement battery. All right, got the battery out without any wrinkles. And I'm noticing a little bit of what looks like corrosion right there on the side of the board. Do want to take a look at the power button. I don't see any issues with it right off the bat, but one thing we can do is take a multimeter and test the pins. All right, so we're in continuity, red probe on ground. This top section of the connector, we should get OL, which we are. I accidentally hit the ground there, but we got an OL. Big one here on the outside should be OL, and it is. And the inside one, we're getting 0.36, which is what we're supposed to get. And then we should be also OL on the bottom, which we are. Okay, now we need to test the smaller pins. We should be getting 0.78 here, if I can find it. Yep, 0.78. 1, yep, 0.78. 0.35. That's really low, unless I was touching the big one. Yeah, I was touching the big one. So everything on the connector there is fine. Let's take out the board. All right, so we've got the board out, and although there is what looks like a teeny evidence of corrosion there, I'm definitely seeing it around the power button itself. Kind of chalky, crusty looking things right there. Let's dive a little deeper and see if we can really get to the bottom of this issue. All right, we're under the microscope. You can see evidence of corrosion there coming over here as well. Let's remove the screws and take a look at the actual button. And I'm sure we're gonna find corrosion all over the button or something that was causing it to think that it was constantly being pressed. Let's peel that back. And looking at the flex cable right here, it probably fused together or something weird, or there's something going on under the button here. It looks clean, but something's definitely going on with the flex. We'll also want to check out the other buttons just to make sure there's nothing wrong with them. All right, so given what we've seen, I'm just going to take some isopropyl alcohol and we're going to clean up the flex here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and reconnect up just the power button, and then now the display, and finally the battery. And what I hope to not see is an instant Apple logo. Here we go. So that obviously didn't work. I don't have a power flex on hand at the moment, but I do have this housing that has the same connector slash circuit behind this flex. Same pins correlate. So I'm actually just going to use it as a temporary power button just to see if it's a board issue with a flex connected. We'll connect up that. We'll connect up the display, the battery, and we should not see a logo right away. No logo. It's a good start. We'll go ahead and hold down the power button on this frame, and we should see an Apple logo. There we go. So now we know that a working flex cable will solve the initial boot loop issue. Let's wait for this to fully boot up. All right, so what we'll do, we go ahead and disconnect the battery. So given that there was no actual visible issue with the button, but we do have corrosion on the flex that looks like it burnt it, it's probably physically shorting some of the lines. So the next thing to do is replace the flex here. I might make a quick video on that because there's two ways to do this. You can replace the whole flex with the wireless charging, or you can solder on a new flex. Some people may not know how to do that, so I'll make that video as soon as the flex comes in. So this issue is not always the case for boot loops, but it's relatively straightforward to isolate the problem. This one wasn't too complicated. We were able to isolate the issue being the power button flex. I could have gone one connector at a time to see if I could isolate the issue. Given the way that the phone was acting, as soon as the battery was connected, I knew it was the power button. But if I had to, I could have gone one at a time, disconnecting and testing each one of the connectors to see if it was something other than a motherboard. Now, obviously, this phone has seen a bit of moisture, which means that there's a possibility that it has an issue down the road. Given the lack of evidence of moisture on the motherboard, I seriously doubt it. There's that one little spot that I saw, but that looks very superficial. I'm going to make a short video on replacing the power button flex, as there's a little bit of soldering involved and it's a little bit more complicated. It's nice to know how to do it so that if you run into an issue, you can do it yourself. So make sure you look out for that video if that's something that you've always wanted to try and just never done. Let me know if there's something specific that you'd like to see in a future video. Thanks a ton for watching. We'll see you in the next video.